Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairpersonship, and I want to congratulate the Honourable Member for Blaydon for bringing and securing this debate on such an important issue. It is one that has caused a great deal of suffering for thousands of people. Several years ago, I met with a group of parents outside Hillsborough Stadium whose loved ones had tragically taken their lives after struggling with gambling addiction. They were the victims were mainly in their 20s and 30s. They were taking part in the Big Step, walking between 5 Yorkshire football grounds, calling for an end to gambling, advertising and sponsorship in football. 35 clubs from across the UK have signed the Big Steps pledge to eliminate gambling advertisements in football, while Premier League teams have agreed not to take front-of-shirt sponsorship deals from gambling firms from 2026. However, this leaves us in the nonsensical situation where we recognise the dangers posed by gambling sponsorships, but are happy to relegate them to the sleeves of football kits and advertising hoardings around the stadium. Despite research showing that only 5% of gambling logos shown during the live Premier League football match would be affected by this front-of-shirt ban, and in my opinion, that's 5% too many anyway. We need to do far more in order to combat the blight of gambling sponsorship in sport, and I remain disappointed that the government's white paper on gambling reform, which required a cross-sport gambling sponsorship code of conduct to be introduced, has seen continual delays. And I would like the Minister to mention at the end when actually this bill will become law, and whether will he actually investigate the KICS operation, which is now operating instead of the FI. Sadly, any changes to the legislation around football sponsorship are too late for the users of Football Index. Prior to their collapse, Football Index sponsored the shirts of 3 Football League teams. These sponsorships deals helped convey an aura of trust and respectability that might not have otherwise existed, furthering the dupe that they were an investment platform, as we have heard. Football Index themselves were more than happy to play into this misconception. Internal company documents reveal that Neil Kelly, the director of Bet Index, the Jersey-based company which ran Football Index, said, "The Football Index platform functions somewhat similarly to a stock market. Hence, for marketing purposes, it is sometimes referred to as the football stock market. And when the company uses this term, it is deliberately misspelled as the football stock market." As one of the previous speakers said, this is actually working in the dark shadows of the law. It is, completely unacceptable, and I really hope that the Minister will be putting this right. This deliberate misspelling may have reassured directors that they were not operating a stock market, but that distinction was less than apparent to their customers. The Guardian reported that the only hint on its website that it was actually a betting site was an easy-to-miss strapline, which was added several years into its existence at the insistence of the Advertising Standards Authority, who had previously complained that the language used by Football Index was synonymous with the language used to describe conventional stock markets and investment products. The Gambling Commission had been made aware of these concerns, having been warned in January 2020 that tens of thousands of users have been misled into believing they are investing rather than gambling, with little or no consideration that all of their money was at risk. And that platform was a little more than an exceptionally dangerous pyramid scheme in a formal submission by industry experts. But the misleading nature of the platform meant there was a reluctance from both the Gambling Commission and the FCA to take ultimate responsibility for regulating the product, to the detriment of the thousands of Football Index's victims. Let us not forget, consumers have rights, including a right to redress if a product is missold. Customers in a regulated industry like gambling have the right to expect that the regulations will be adequate, appropriate and diligent. The users of Football Index have been wronged. The regulatory failings have cost thousands of people dearly, and they deserve compensation for their losses. But beyond that, we need real systematic change. Football is watched by millions of young people every week, yet they are still subjected to constant gambling advertisements. I fear without urgent reform, more consumers will fall prey to similar products that intentionally blur the lines between gambling and investing. Will the Minister commit to helping ensure that the Gambling Sponsorship Code of Conduct is introduced as soon as possible? Thank you.